Hey, writers. Okay, if you are here, then you're on to the part where you are working on writing your introduction and your hook. And I'm going to explain what a hook is today. I'm going to walk you through some examples of hooks that you can use, and then I'm going to set you free on writing your introduction. If you're here, then you've already spent some time analyzing the different samples of writing. And probably the most important sample that I want you to always keep handy is the student sample, the one about McDonald's. I think that is a great example of a review. And if you're going to use anything as your mentor text to sort of help you and guide you as you write this, I would highly recommend that you use that. What you should have noticed if you read that, which you did if you're here, is that piece of writing was organized in a very specific way. Keep that in mind because that is exactly what you want to do with yours. You noticed that there were a total of 5 paragraphs. The first paragraph was the introduction. I'm going to call it a hook starting this point forward. Paragraph 2, 3, and 4 were all sort of body paragraphs. They made up the body of that piece of writing. And each one of those paragraphs served a different purpose. Paragraph 1 was on this sense. Paragraph 2 was on one sense. Paragraph 3 was on another sense, and so on. So every single paragraph in that body section was on a different sense. And then the last paragraph, of course, was our conclusion. It wrapped up the writing and it did a very important job of letting our audience know one more time, hey, come visit this restaurant, and to, I'm done. I'm wrapping up my writing. Today, our objective is very, very simple. Our goal today, your goal today, when you're done watching this video, is to think about your introduction. Just paragraph number 1. I know you see all of these things here, but just for today, I want you to focus on writing that introduction. Your next step after this will be to conference with me, and when I conference with you, I only want to see your introduction. Okay, so with our introduction, here's what I want us to think about. We want to make sure that we hook our audience here. Think about if there were actually arms coming out of your writing and like grabbing your audience member and saying, hey, read this. This is going to be the best thing you've ever read in your life. That's a hook. And there's a few different ways that we can hook our audience. So as we write today, we want to keep in mind that our goal with this introduction is, in one part, to hook our audience, to get them excited, to want them to keep reading. 2, we're going to want to give them a sneak peek of, why we like this restaurant, what it is about it, without telling them all of this. We still want to save most of that for our body paragraphs, but there's no reason why we can't kind of give our audience maybe an appetizer or a sneak peek at just why we like this restaurant. And of course, this should probably have come first, is that this is the point, this is the part of your writing where you want to tell your audience, what is your restaurant? What are you writing about? Who are you writing about? What place are you writing about? Okay, so let's talk about these hooks. You know that a hook it's meant to grab your audience. It's meant to grab the reader and say, stop, read me. I'm important. This is awesome. Don't skip it. And I think there's 3 ways that you can hook your audience. The first way is something called picture this. And it is where you place the reader there. You create this visual for your readers so that they read this introduction and immediately they can picture themselves there. It's a great strategy to hook your audience. So here's my example. I'm going to share 3 different hooks for you that you can try to use today. And then I'm also going to share how I would have used it, or how I did use it, for my review. My review is on Bad Daddy Burger. I love that place. And so every single one of my hooks is tied to that restaurant. All right, picture this. A line of eager diners waiting outside. Inside, wall-to-wall images and memorabilia that you can read for days. On the tables lay plates of thick burgers, wrapped in the signature Bad Daddy burger paper, steaming tots and icy cold drinks. This is the place you want to be. Bad Daddy Burger can't be beat. So you can tell there, I tried to kind of create an image for my reader. What does it look like when you first walk up? What does it look like inside? And all of those things are things that I enjoy. Even though there's a line, I know the line moves fast. I know the line is there because so many people love this place. When I get inside, the walls are filled with pictures and artifacts and things like that. And I love to look at those. It's like I always seem to sit somewhere different in the restaurant, and there's always something new to look at. That to me is a plus of this restaurant. So I'm mentioning that here in my picture this hook. I did mention the name of the restaurant so my audience knows who I'm talking about or what I'm talking about. And again, the goal of this review, we said, was to convince, to persuade someone to come to this restaurant. So I'm going to throw that in there, and I encourage you to do the same. This is the place you want to be. Bad Daddy Burger can't be beat. I'm going to sell this place. My job, your job right now, is to sell this restaurant and to convince people to come here. So picture this, place the reader there, give them something to visualize. Option 2 is a question or a series of questions. And this is just to get your reader thinking. So here's mine. Looking for a high energy place to eat. Love burgers, sandwiches, or salads. Love the idea of creating your own meal. Look no further. Bad Daddy Burger has you covered. Again, I had to stop and I had to think about, what do I like about this place? What do they offer? And how can I turn that into a question? It's very high energy. They've got music playing, there's a lot of people there. It's a high energy place. They've got burgers and they've got sandwiches and they've got salads. You can create your own meal. If you don't like what's on the menu, you can customize your burger or you can customize your salad. You can even name it, whatever you want to name it. And that's kind of cool. To me, that's a selling point. So I want to mention that because I think other people might be interested by that. So a list of a question or a series of questions. That's another hook idea for you. Okay. And then the last one is called a list of adjectives. And remember that a group of adjectives are words that describe a noun. So for this activity or for this hook, you'd want to think about adjectives that you could use to describe your restaurant. And this one, I'll be honest, was a little challenging for me, but I'll tell you what helped me. And actually what helped me for those two was I actually put I found the website for Bad Daddy Burger and I was looking at it. And there's just this line of pictures streaming of what they serve. And that really inspired me as I was writing. So because that's part of my work and because it's going to be part of your work, I don't think there's anything wrong for you to pull up the website of your restaurant and use it as inspiration and research on your part. So that definitely helped me as I was writing all of these introductions. But this is what a list of adjectives looks like. Cool, hip, delicious. That's Bad Daddy Burger, the best place in Colorado Springs to enjoy a delicious meal. Again, I had to think, how would I describe this restaurant? And those three words, to me, that's what popped in my head first. So I went with it. Again, I mentioned the name of the restaurant. I did mention Colorado Springs in here. I think some of us are writing about restaurants here in the city. But if you're writing about a restaurant that's not in Colorado Springs, make sure that you mention it. All right. So to recap, today you are focused only on writing your introduction to your essay. This will be your completed essay right here today. All right. As you write today, your introduction, I want you to focus on making sure that you hook your audience. You choose one of these three hooks to try out. You may actually write two and then have to pick and choose which one you really like the most, but you're only choosing one. That's going to be your hook/introduction. Don't forget to, it's okay to give them a sneak peek about, using some of the senses, which you might have discovered or realized that I use some of the 5 senses in my writing, and that's okay. But I saved most of it for these paragraphs, which I'll work on later. And don't forget to mention, of course, your restaurant. And again, keep the purpose of why we're doing this in the forefront of your mind. We're trying to convince someone to come to this restaurant. So use language that's persuasive and convincing and is going to make people want to visit. All right, you guys. So good luck on today's task. As always, if there's anything about what you saw today that doesn't make sense or you want a thinking partner, make sure you find me and let's talk.